All right, welcome back to We Talk Tech, everybody. We've got an episode today that some might feel kind of boring, but it's about mounting, and mounting can be exciting. It can lead to a greater independence for a lot of our members, and we have one of our peer coordinators, Nancy, joining us today. Nancy uses a lot of mounts, and we're going to talk to her and Ian about how they use mounting around their homes to make their lives more independent.
Yeah, I think we have so many different styles and mounts to offer that it is important to touch upon it and make sure everybody knows what we have and how we can help, because they truly make a difference. Okay, so today I'm excited to introduce Nancy Lear from Technology for Living, one of us. Take it away. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, Ian. It's great to be on the show. I work at Technology for Living, like you said, in the peer support facilitator. I've worked at Technology for Living for 6 years. So over the years, I've met a lot of our peer members and got to know a lot of their day-to-day activities and what supports that they need from TFL. So I'm very excited to be a part of their journey and to help in any way I can.
Well, Nancy, I know they appreciate you as well, and we do as well as part of our team here at TFL. Now, we brought you in today because we know you use mounts, and Ian uses mounts, so I'm going to talk to you guys both about some of TIL's mounts, the ones that you use, and some of the likes and dislikes of the different mounts that you've tried. So just to get started, just quickly, so TIL does a lot of mounting, and that's because over the years we've come to realize that a big part of independent living is having devices in the right place so they're useful. Whether that be mounting a Google Home device so it's easier to use, mounting switches, mounting your phones and tablets. There's a lot of mounting that we can do here. So just quickly, I wanted to touch on what you guys use for mounts. So Nancy, what kind of mounts are you using at home?
Well, I have 2 Google Home devices, and one is just resting on my computer desk very close to me so it can listen at any time that I want to send a command. And I also have one on my bed, the headboard of my bed, so that I can control like the lights and set up music for my morning routine. And I really like that one, especially because I'm a very good morning person. So having some music that I like and chatting with my caregivers, it makes the morning very comfortable and very easy. Also, besides the Google, I have a new iPad that I'm very excited about. Got it about two weeks ago, I guess. And that's mounted on my desk. So it's a work in progress. I had never had an iPad before, so I'm very excited about that. With my computer desk as well, Neil Squire set up my laptop so that it sits on a tray, and it's really convenient for eye level and for accessing all I want to do on my laptop. So yeah, that's just some of the things that I have.
Just wanted to touch on that Google Home mount that you have on your bed. Can you remind me why we put it on a mount and not on the bedside table?
I think the reason was more for accessibility for me, because my bedside table has like the ventilator and space for like different things that I need to do for my personal care. So it was more convenient to put it on the headboard of my bed, because also like my voice is very low in the mornings, and it's generally low all the time, but when I'm first waking up, it's quite low, so I need the Google Home to be adjusted closer to my voice, and so it works better that way.
Nice, and you don't want to wake up screaming at Google first thing in the morning.
No.
Ian, what about you? What kind of mounts are you using at home?
Similar to Nancy, I have a Google Nest Mini mounted at the bedside because I'm very quiet in the morning. And beside it, I have Amazon Echo Dot. And then beside that, I have a baby monitor mounted there for my caregivers to hear me. A phone mount on my wheelchair, a tablet mount at my desk, some computer screen mounts, a lip sync mount, holding it in front of my mouth here right now. You know what? There's mounts everywhere.
Yeah. I do have a hard time believing you're ever quiet, Ian, but I'll take your word for it. Ian, which one of those mounts is your favorite? Which one is the one you can't live without?
I think the phone mount is probably the number one. And number two would be the Google Nest Mini, because that I have mounted right above my head. So even if I'm quiet, it can hear me. If I'm needing assistance, call up my caregivers. That's the one that I rely on so much in bed, knowing that something will be able to hear me. Because prior to that, as Nancy mentioned, I had it at the bedside table, and the ventilator noise would muffle my voice. So definitely, those are my favorite too.
Cool. And Nancy, what about you? What's the one? Is it the Google Home on the bed that is your favorite, or your computer?
Actually, I'm kind of leaning more towards my iPad. Even though it's new, I kind of like the options that it gives me. I can FaceTime my family, and that's something new for me, because even though I can FaceTime on my iPhone sits on my tray, so I can't really see because I can't pick it up. So that's been a really, really good option for me to FaceTime my family.
You guys have probably tried a ton of mounts in the past, and you're kind of settled on what you have now, and those will change in the future, I'm sure. But are there any in the past that didn't really work for you, and can you explain a little bit why?
Because of limited mobility, it's really hard to get the right kind of button that I can press, because I know that I can take pictures with my iPhone through the Bluetooth, so that's a really good mount. But my tilt button sometimes mounted on my chair is kind of awkward to reach, especially if I'm bouncing around outside on the sidewalks. My caregiver has to always adjust my hand, and so that's one that gives me a little bit of frustration. But I still use it. I like it. But it does give me some frustration.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can see that little bit of mounting for your switch does affect your independence, right? Because your caregiver does need to be there to tilt. So.
Absolutely, because just going on the sidewalk, you have the dips for the driveways and things like that, and a couple of times when my chair was new, about 3 years ago, I would veer to the road. So it was very dangerous, and until I got used to the power of the chair and how to really manipulate it better for me. So it can be a bit dangerous. So yeah, I was happy to have my caregiver there for sure.
Right. And Ian, I know you try a ton of devices, and I know you've tried a ton of mounts in the past. Which ones didn't quite work for you, and why?
Well, I used to have a tablet mount that, frankly, I think I was asking too much of it. It had a very long arm on it, and just from the weight of the tablet, it would drop down over time, and so that was a little frustrating, because everything would be set up perfect in a place where I could see it and access it, and then I would leave, go have a shower, come back, and it would be laying on the desk. So I think that's important for me to remember, is that they have their limitations, and it's all about mounting it in a way that it's rigid, but also easy to access and easy to remove at night when I transfer in and out of bed, making sure that it's not in the way. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've had frustration with.
Right. And it is important to remember that these mounts do make you more independent typically, but you still will need often a caregiver to readjust them, or to take them on and off in the morning. And as little readjustment as we can possibly manage, the more independent you guys can be, right?
I don't know if Ian finds this, but whenever I travel and I go to another country or province or something, I certainly miss the mounts that I have when I come home, and I enjoy my comfort zone, I guess, because, you know, you're living out of a hotel or you're on a cruise ship, so things are not modified for you, so it's all about the caregiver assisting us and assisting me, so it's nice to come back home and have everything at my fingertips.
Right.
It's so true. I think we take them for granted after a while. We just expect everything to be there and accessible. And when we leave our home, then we end up propping things up with pillows and books, and it's just not the same.
Yeah, that does remind me. You guys are both avid travelers and frequent flyers. Are there mounts that you guys take with you?
Definitely.
Yeah,
The
I do
phone
take my
mount?
camera. Yeah, for sure.
Camera mount? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. I wish I could take my voice assistant with me. That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Put Google in my pocket, you know.
Right?
All right, well, Nancy, it's been a real pleasure having you and sharing your mounting experiences with us. Ian, as always, it's great being able to pick your brain as well. But Nancy, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you around the office.
Thank you so much, Wayne. Thanks, Ian. It was
Thanks, Nancy.
It was great to be a part of this journey. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, and as always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
All right, take care.